Sometimes folk ask me, what surprised you the most since you've been in the Senate? Well, one of the things that surprised me is something called the Warnock-Cruz Amendment. I didn't go on a cruise, I mean Ted Cruz. Senator Cruz and I are both on the Commerce Committee. Most of the time, I don't understand why he's doing what he's doing. I'm sitting there scratching my head like, is that what you wake up in the morning to do? I don't get it. But as it turns out, there was something he wanted to get done that I also wanted to get done. We couldn't get it done in committee, so we had to take it to the floor of the Senate the night we passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And so he stood up on his side of the aisle and he began to make his argument about why he thought we should do this thing. And then it came my turn to make my argument about why I also thought we should do this thing, trying to get our colleagues to adopt our amendment. And so he made his argument, then it came my turn, I made my argument. And then I closed with words I did not imagine myself ever saying. I said, Mr. President, in closing, I'd like to associate myself with the words of the senator from Texas. Our colleagues erupted in laughter. They couldn't believe it, but they passed it unanimously. Twitter went crazy. Augusta especially needs to hear this. Twitter went crazy. They were like, what could Ted Cruz be working on that Raphael Warnock is also working on? His folk were mad, my folk were mad. What could they be doing together? It's very simple. There's a road that runs through Texas. And Ted Cruz wants to extend that road. It's called I-14. I-14 would not simply run through Texas. The same road that runs through Texas would also run through Georgia. Matter of fact, it would connect a lot of our military bases in Columbus and near Macon and Augusta. I-14 run right by Augusta. And my provision, which would cap the cost of insulin, because I hail from a state where 12% of the adults are diabetic. And I was thinking about you. And so we passed in the Inflation Reduction Act a provision from my bill which caps the cost of insulin for those who are on Medicare to no more than $35 per month of out-of-pocket costs. Now, I was trying to get that done also for folks on private insurance because insulin should not be expensive. It's a drug that's been around 100 years. And when it was first invented, the person who invented it basically gave it away for $1. Because the thinking was it was immoral to make money off of something that people needed. That was his thinking. 100 years later, we got Big Pharma willing to price gouge an absolutely necessary drug. And so there were those who blocked us. I guess they want expensive insulin. I guess they work for Big Pharma. I don't work for the pharmaceutical companies. I work for you. And if you send me back to the Senate, I'm going to get insulin for all of us. Everybody who needs it ought to be able to get affordable insulin. I hear you, brother. I'm going to keep on working. I haven't forgotten about George Floyd. We need some criminal justice reform. I was fighting that long before I went to the Senate. I was focused on criminal justice reform. And we can we can ensure that our communities are safe. We can ensure that there is justice for all of our citizens, while at the same time recognizing the dangerous and important work that our law enforcement officials do. We can do both of those things at the same time. I'm a United States Senator. But when you look at me, you're not just looking at a United States Senator. You're looking at a kid who grew up in public housing. One of 12 children in my family, I'm number 11 and the first college graduate. Clearly my folk read the Bible, be fruitful and multiply. My daddy was a junk man who used to pick up old broken cars that other folk had thrown away, but he was a junk man and also a preacher. And so on Sunday morning, the man who spent his week picking up old broken cars that other folk had thrown away picked up broken people. That is the lens through which I do my work as a legislator. My dad was a preacher and a junk man. My mother grew up in Waycross, Georgia. Waycross, Georgia. I mean, Waycross, Georgia. Ware County, that's right. In the 1950s. Picking somebody else's tobacco and picking somebody else's cotton. But because this is America, we always have a path to make the country greater. And because this is America, the 84-year-old hands that used to pick somebody else's tobacco and cotton picked her youngest son to be a United States Senator. Only in America is my story possible.